What's going on? What's going on, Falcon fans? You know what time it is. It's another episode of the pregame meal. Sit back, relax. We got you covered. Come on in and bring your plates and bring your appetites. We're going to get you situated, man. So tap in with us. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way in. Let's go. What's going on, good people? Hey, it's the pregame meal. It's time for you to pull up your plates, loosen your belt buckles, let the belly hang, get some of this good old soul food today. Or if you don't want soul food, we got some grilled fish on the side or whatnot for those who are trying to eat healthy, and we got vegan option as well. Now, but the main thing is we're all sitting down at the table getting ready to talk about Atlanta Falcons football. I'm your host, the historian. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Waiting for my guy Sean to come in, Turbo, but apparently he's not here yet. We'll see him a little later. Hopefully he's taking care of little man right now. But let's get to it. The Falcons right now have the chance to actually win a ball game in the division right off hand. They have a chance. What's going on, Ann? What's going on, Nick? What's happening? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's be honest. The Falcons have a chance to go 2-1 today. Now, the thing that the Falcons have to do is to execute, and not just execute. You have to put this team in a position to where they're going to be respected. And the way that they're going to be respected today is the offense has to put up points. You have to make a statement. Your defense is already letting you know that you are in a good spot. You're in a good spot defensively. You're number 2 in the league. Today is a day that you do not let Carolina have a bounce-back game against you. The issue with the Falcons is we've had good seasons, good starts to seasons, and we allow teams that are garbage, trash, pretty much the stuff that we put in the garbage disposal and the dumpster here at the pregame meal lounge or whatnot. We put that stuff out to the garbage, and we let those type of teams have bounce backs against us. Today is a day that you put them out of their misery. It's supposed to be a stat game today. This is supposed to be a stat game. I want us to beat them so thoroughly today that we got to sit Kirk Cousins in there, sit Michael Penix, play Carter, sit Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, sit my starters, let my backups get in here. This is the type of beatdown that I want to put on these Panthers or whatnot. And all I can say is this. It's one of these things that you got to respect. What's going on, John? Yeah, a lot of them are hanging their heads, but at the same time, it's still a rivalry game because guess what? They're hanging their heads now, but let us screw up and let these boys win today and watch how much trash they're going to be talking. It's still a conference game. That's right, Ann. Shout out to my good buddy, Ann Friedman in the chat today. She's pulled up, Unfortunately, she's a Saints fan, but she still supports the show. Good people right there. We just don't agree on her professional choices when it comes to football teams, but she definitely is one of the ones that's very knowledgeable about the game and definitely someone that we cut up and go back and forth. So shout out to my good buddy, Ann, right there and out there in Cali doing her thing. But let's get back to it. Like Ann was saying, a divisional game is always tricky. It's always tricky. And you never know what's going to happen. Think about it. Atlanta had Tampa dead to rights, and we gave up the draws. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it at this point. And when you look at the Falcons at this point, they're looking to at least go 2-1. If you go 2-1 at this point, won the division, you're 2-1 overall. You have a stretch of games that are going to be tough. You got the Washington Commanders coming up. You got the 49ers coming up. You've already taken care of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the question is, how do we get this thing right? How do we get this thing on point? And the best part about this whole thing is we're going to their house. So at the end of the season, they're going to come to our house at the end of the season, and we get the end on the big note. Hopefully, they just fall off a cliff. That's what I'm hoping. I need them to fall off a cliff. The Saints, I just want to beat the hell out of them. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I just want to beat the hell out of New Orleans. I hate the Saints. I will always hate the Saints. Like I said, I got more respect for Tampa than I do New Orleans. That's just how much I dislike them. I dislike the 49ers like that, and I dislike the Rams like that too. Most people forget that we used to be in the NFC West. Really, back in the day, you had the NFC Coastal Division, NFC Central Division, and we were back in those divisions when the Falcons first started. But us, the Rams, and the Saints are all blood rivals. We were in that division. Now, let's get back to it. The NFC South comes up. We take the two most hated rivals in this spot, and you add two other teams. A Tampa Bay team that was in the Central Division back in the day with the Bears, Packers, and all those guys. They used to get the hell kicked out of them back in the day, minus the time Doug Williams was being the quarterback. And then you got to look at the upstart Carolina Panthers. They wanted to have a southern region. They wanted to have a southern market. But when we sit back and we look at it, this is where you have so many other things. But without further ado, my man Turbo's not here, but we have a BirdCage alumni coming through who was really our first ever interview. My former coach, my former coach that I played for in the semi-pro leagues and whatnot, and definitely is still doing some things for Militech, NFL equipment. Please check that out if you're a part of high school sports and college sports, Militech. We got Coach Terry McGriff in the building, man. Welcome, Coach McGriff. What's going on, man? Long time no see. We can't hear you. You're muted. Try it again. Hit your microphone button again. Pop in, pop out. We can't hear you. So how about this? I'm gonna drop you down, go back to the link and come back in and make sure your mic is working. We gonna be here for a minute, so I got you, Coach. So we got Coach McGriff in the building today. He's gonna step in. He's gonna talk a little bit about the matchup that we have with the Carolina Panthers. But the main thing that gives Atlanta an edge today, ladies and gentlemen, the Falcons are playing against a wounded offensive line that the Carolina Panthers have. The Carolina Panthers are wounded at this point. Two of their top offensive linemen are out. With us garnering 7 sacks within 2 games, that's a drastic improvement, as I pointed out earlier. You're the number 2 defense in the league. You have one of the highest pass rush percentages in the league, and you're right behind the Cleveland Browns. Out of all teams, the Cleveland Browns. Now, a lot of that's going to change by the middle of the season, but if we keep this momentum going, where we can actually continue to keep bringing folks in that are going to make plays, that are going to be selfless with playing team football, we got a chance to win. The defense is going to keep us upright until the offense figures out how to pass the football. Once we figure out how to pass the football, this is going to be a situation where I can honestly sit back and say that we're going to be even more dangerous. People are already seeing the defense and they're thinking it's a fluke, but no, it wasn't a fluke that we went into Minnesota's house and beat those boys down like that. It wasn't a fluke. Now, when we get to Washington Commanders, that's going to be a real test, but I'm not going to look ahead. I got to look at this division game at this point. The main thing I'm also looking at is how does Raheem Morris handle JPJ and Jalen Walker in this game, because they're going home. Those are Charlotte, North Carolina boys or whatnot. They're going home. They're playing against a team that they watched growing up. And the thing is, they are going to have to control their emotions and they're going to play hard. But you got to keep those guys' emotions intact to where it's a controlled aggression. You keep that intact, they still can be dangerous, because you get guys that get excited about going home, playing against their hometown team and everything else. Then the emotions are high. Then you award yourself the opportunity to make mistakes. We need these guys to be controlled rage to where they can dominate the game. That's what we need at this point. Now, looking at it, I see a big game coming from a Jalen Walker. I said big game coming from a JPJ. You still got Dorless, who showed out with 2 sacks last week. Then you still have Zach Harrison, another guy who showed out. Your front seven needs to eat today. I expect at least 3.5 sacks today. I'm going to say 3.5 because it's still an NFL offensive line that you're going up against. You're still going to have to make Bryce Young respect this defense. That's what you're going to have to do. When you look at the odds today, the Falcons are literally 3.5-point favorites just because of the fact that this is a rivalry game, folks. 3.5 point. I'm sorry, it's 4.5 now at this point. 4.5 point spread the Falcons are. It's not much. And the reason being it's a rivalry game. Just like I said earlier, rivalry games always become tricky. And at this point, you have to pay attention to what they're going to bring to the table. You have to. No. We already got our starter, but I want it to be that much of a decisive win to where we're playing the backups and the starters can sit out and get these guys reps. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We don't need any of our players pulling what Jalen Carter did. I get it. But the one thing that you'll say is this. If you had a Jalen Carter on this team, regardless of what happened, I don't agree with it because he and I would have been throwing hands. I'd had to meet him after the game and throw hands with him because spitting on someone is just as bad as you putting your feet on somebody. Totally disrespectful. But when you talk about the impact that kid has on that defense for Philly, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Period. And I'm just going to be honest with you. He's as disruptive as a Jerome Brown or the late, great Reggie White. No, I'm calling him that, but they're just as disruptive. So when you sit back and you think about it, it's just one of those things that you have to give him credit for. Coach, let's see if we got your sound right now. Nope, it's still off, man. I think you might have to check your mic. I'll bring you back up. But all I'm saying is this, man. When you look at Bijan Robinson and you look at so many other these players or whatnot, you have to control the game. At this point, if you can't run the football and control the ball game, it's going to be dangerous. Coach, you might? Nope. All right. Try. I'm going to pull you out and you can try it again. So the thing that you have to pay attention to is this. When you look at how this offense is set up, the Falcons are set as a run-first team. I know everybody wants to see Michael Penix. You know, we don't want to see it, but here's the thing. If we can win games by running the football and taking pressure off of Penix, because this is real here, they're going to get eat for him. Guess what? Nobody's going to have footage on how to defend this guy. I need y'all to think about it. Nobody is going to have footage on this guy. And that's what's. And the thing that you have to pay attention to is this. Michael Penix Jr. is one of the most dangerous players in the NFL. The thing is, no one has any footage on him. You only can see a couple of throws that he's made. You've seen him run, but you really don't know how to game plan for that guy. You really don't. So at this point, Atlanta has a lot of an advantage in their back pocket at this point. They do. So with Atlanta having that much of an advantage in their back pocket, you have to pay attention to what's going to happen. You have to pay attention to what's going to happen. Now, Divine Diablo is one of the players on this team that was a great pickup in the offseason, and he's paying dividends early. If Diablo stays healthy, he's going to be one of the best players on this team, possibly the leading tackle. Now, what I'd like for y'all to also look at is he led the Raiders in tackles for 2 years before he blew his knee out. Now, this man is doing this off of a reconstructed knee towards ACL. You know, Raiders got rid of him. They didn't know what they had in him. Comes to Atlanta and has paid dividends so far. We still got to see it for a whole season. The first 2 games are good, but you got to do it the whole season. I'm not a guy that's going to get my emotions that high Or as Raheem would say, I'm not emotionally invested. He doesn't have that much of an emotional investment with me because of the fact that it's only 2 games. It's only 2 games. I got to see a season's worth. I got to see consistency. Consistency is the word for the Atlanta Falcons right now. Consistency. We've seen this team start off 8-0 and literally give up the draws in 2015. Then you had the next year where we go to the Super Bowl. So we have to be consistent all the way around with this football team. You have to be consistent. And that's something that we're looking at this point with the Falcons. Can we continue consistency? Now, we have to get back to winning this division. It starts today. It starts today. If you can't win this weak division, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Hell, you don't even deserve to have an opportunity to even coach this team. You got to beat up division. It's weak. The only team that you have to worry about is Tampa right now. It's Tampa. If you cannot at least split with the Tampa Bay Bucks, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Let me try to get Coach in here one more time. Coach.
I got it fixed.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I got to give you a round of applause for that.
I'm not the most stickiest person, but I'll make it happen.
It's called making adjustments. You taught me that when I played for you. So, hey, you made adjustments. So, welcome back to the cage. Welcome to the pregame meal. You're not in the cage today. You're in the lounge. Pull up a chair, get the plates ready. Hey, man, what you got to bring to the table today, Coach? What you got?
I'm cooking right now. Pregame meal.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's going to be I'm looking for a very exciting day around the league. I mean, my excitement after also being a Jaguars fan is not overly exciting for Atlanta, for the Falcons today. I think they should handle business. They come with the right mindset and do like they've been doing the first 2 weeks of the season. We know, obviously it's a divisional game and they're never easy, but watching them play the Jaguars up close, point blank, Atlanta's a better team. And if they do what they're supposed to do, they should handle their business. I think definitely they don't be like college football and looking ahead to next week because this is the NFL. But I think this is going to be a good day for all Falcons fans. Obviously it's a divisional game. Obviously, you got some challenges with playing a team that knows you very well, but you also know them very well. So I think it's going to be a good day. So hopefully it won't be the post-game show should be quite pleasing. Anyway, but back to around the league, it's a lot of exciting matchups. Once again, you got a lot of first-round pick quarterbacks playing each other this week, and and you got a lot of backups this week. That's one of the big. There's going to be a big storyline how the backup quarterbacks do to keep their teams on track because you lose a couple of games in a row while the starter's out, it could derail your season. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with these backup quarterbacks this weekend.
Well, I say this. I would love to see us get in a situation where the Falcons can actually start playing their backups. That's what I'd like to see. Put them out of their misery quick, sit your guys, get ready for next week when you have to play a better team in the Washington Commanders. And then you still have the 49ers you got to play the week afterwards. So when we talk about the first 5 games, I figured we were going to drop one, but I didn't think Tampa was going to be the one that we dropped because we match up with them well. We had them and we let them off the hook. It's just what it is. We let them off the hook. So at this point, Coach, now what happens is the Commanders don't have a healthy JD5 right now. They got to get through this week with Marcus Mariota, who we dealt with at that quarterback spot. Now, we know what Mariota brings to the table, but to be fair, I'm no Mariota fan, never will be. But to be fair, he has weapons in Washington. He did not have weapons in Atlanta like he has in Washington. To be fair, you got Scary Terry, you got Deebo Samuel. You got the backup running back who was killing it in the preseason. He's doing his thing, Cooksey. And then you still have to look at they got Zach Ertz. So he's got veteran talent and a young back behind him. and a solid offensive line. And
pretty good offensive, yeah.
And he still can make
agree.
plays with his legs too. That's the other thing. So if they can actually get through this week, then you possibly have to plan for 2 quarterbacks because you don't know if JD5 is going to be healthy. Then you got to plan for Mariota. So you don't know what you're going to get next week, but you have to get through this week first. If you start off 1-2 and you've lost to two division rivals, that's not a good start to the season. That is not a good start to the season.
No, I totally agree.
I want to ask you,
agree. Go ahead.
And it's something I wanted to ask you because you're a coach. How did you feel about Raheem Morris taking the bull by the horns and going ahead and moving on from Koo, a guy that he said in the press conference, I have emotional equity towards, but then you bring in Parker Romo, who goes 5 for 5 last week, and you replace Koo because of the inconsistencies in the past few years. How was that tough as a coach for you if you were coaching in that situation? How is that tough on a coach to get rid of a guy that you're emotionally involved with, but knowing you can't lose your locker room? How tough is that?
It could be tough depending on what your relationship, both personally and business wise, with the player. The player has to understand this is a bottom line league. Performance is everything. You know, everybody gets paid on how everybody performs. And in a way, everybody is tied to everybody else. If we can't trust that the kicker will get us those points, we cannot keep him on the team, especially when his job is so vital, because he's not out there very much. And so it's almost like somebody working at the TSA. You can't miss a bomb. You know what I mean? So you're not out there to miss kicks. You know, it's a wasted opportunity, and it puts our team in a bad situation, whether you're on the you got a chance to win the game at the final seconds, or in the early part of the game, you miss a kick, and now to give the opposition a better field position. You want to make sure that when you're out there, everybody knows this is money on the field. You know, and for a while he was money on the field. Now we don't know if it's a body deterioration or a confidence issue with him, but his job is now that he's got time to go and get with a new team. But before that, he needs to go get himself together, get checked out, see if all his everything is his technique down, if his confidence, because there's a big headspace with those kickers. You know, they're very psychological in how they go about their business, and if they're not right in the head, it don't even matter what their technique is, they still miss. So I think he did a good job. He was very professional, and it also sends a message to the rest of the team. Nobody's job is safe. If I would get rid of him, and you know what he's done for this team in the past, your butt better perform too, or you'll be out of here.
Because you got to remember this too. He was the leading scorer at one point on this team when our offense was awful, and that was during the time of Ritter, Mariota, and those guys. He was the leading scorer. That right there tells you a lot. Because Raheem was here when Dan Quinn ended up getting booted. Raheem was the interim coach. So accountability is the biggest thing that you can have when it comes to that, because the moment that you don't have accountability, you lose your locker room. You lose that locker room, because it's not like it's college. It's not like it's high school. These are grown men that have mortgages, child support, baby mama stuff, baby mama drama, side women stuff. You know, you never know. IRS tax evasion. I mean, all this type of stuff you dealing with in the locker room. It's just
you went to that side of the coin. I mean, what about saving for retirement? What about their foundation?
Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Between you and we know a couple of ball players. There are only a few of those ball players that actually do right with their money. There's a ton, and the sad part about it is the story has played out years after years after years where guys piss away all their money, and it's still happening now.
Well, we're hoping it's going to get better. We hope it's going to get better, but you're right. There's been quite a few.
It's going to get worse. NIL already started that. These kids got access to money early. So guess what? When they get to the league, they think, okay, well, I got more money getting ready to come in. I can just get this here. I can throw this away. They're not thinking about that. So again,
well, that's called not having good advice and a good support system around them. So, right. And there's a lot of them that don't have good support system, but it's on them to try to get that support system so that they can make their money, because it's only there for a limited time. I mean, even if you play, 10 years, After the 10 years, you got to find another way to make a living, or make sure that money is going to make more money for you for the rest of your life. And hopefully they're thinking about generational wealth for their grandkids and the rest of the kids, the family members that come after them. But you don't know, but it all depends on how the kids and the family raise and what their values are. Let's get back to this though. Like I said, one of the things I wanted to talk about with the Falcons though was how the next few weeks sets up for them. I think it sets up very well with the injury situation of their upcoming opponents. Obviously, we know what Carolina is bringing to the table. They're not where they want to be as a team right now. They got a lot of stuff working. They got a lot of young players. This is the time to put your foot on their neck, so to speak, and stay in arm's length of Tampa Bay. You're only down one game with them, and you got to play them one more time. So the division is still wide open. All your goals for the season is still wide open. This is the time to really focus on that, because everybody I know, when we're talking about a couple of other NFL friends, the ultimate goal is to go 3-1 when you break the season down into quarters. Every 4 games, you want to be at least 3-1. Right now, Atlanta's on track for that. They win today, they win next week. First quarter of the season's out of the way, they're 3-1. That puts you set up to still have all your goals. For number 1 seed in the conference, home playoff games, building excitement. Obviously, for all the players, people out there, there's endorsement things and stuff like that, but definitely recognition, because as big and as great as Atlanta is, it's still not really talked about on the national scale like it should be. I mean, to me, it's up there with Dallas, but they talk about Dallas every time you go on these national shows. They talk about New York, but where everybody wants to go in the entertainment world, they go to Atlanta. So, I think Atlanta's really getting out there, and I think if they can start out 3-1, or maybe with some of this thing end up like 5-1 or 6-2, I think then they'll really start getting that national recognition that they deserve.
Now, here's the crazy thing that I've been telling folks, and I've been saying, when you talk about this team, and man, Atlanta is one of these places when you talk about not only just the team, you talk about, let's just say this here, the culture is a lot different. The culture is different now. It's not like the old Atlanta from back in the day where you had factories, it was a blue collar town, old Fulton County Stadium. Now you're talking about a city that's evolved with the times. It's changed. It's a grittiness that the city doesn't have anymore. I call a spade a spade. It's just not, because you got a bunch of out of towners that are from other places, and it meshes with the town now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you talk about the original Falcon fans, or these Falcon fans that became Falcon fans of because of the recent success, there's not a toughness now with what we have. Raheem is trying to bring that back with Jeff Ulbrich, a toughness with Atlanta that they were respected when we had Jerry Glanville running that grits blitz defense. When you talk about the late 70s, early 80s, and then the early 90 Falcons, and then you look at 98 when Dan Reeves brought a balanced offense and a tough defense. You're starting to see that again. We're bringing back a balanced offense with a tough defense. Now, the only thing I don't like is that we stay in pistol 85% of the time. I understand that it's a formation that's calm, but if you paid attention to last week's game, when Atlanta was running out of I formation, they ran out of pro set. They had somebody in that backfield, and they weren't just, they ran out of pistol a few times, but if you notice, when you give Bijan a blocker in front of him, he gets to the second level a lot easier and uses less energy. Mm-hmm. He's not worn out.
No, you're right.
You're
right. Go ahead.
No, I was getting ready to ask you, as a coach and you're an offensive play caller, matter of fact, when you have a back like a Bijan Robinson and a Tyler Algier, you got two. You got a bruiser, and you got a guy that can slash, and he can hit you. He'll hit you from time to time, but more of a slasher type of guy. How would you use these guys in the backfield in your offense? How would you use them?
I like where they're using them now, to tell you the truth. The Falcons right now are 4th in the league in rushing, they really have done a good job of being focused in on the run. Matter of fact, I'm trying to check it out now. Yeah, they're the number one team in the NFC rushing. They're the number one rushing team as a total. And it really like Monday night's game really showed that running game. I mean, especially in that first quarter when, I mean, they hit him right off the bat with a couple of big runs with Bijan Robinson, and then Tyler Algier came later on in the game. I think they kind of look like they're starting to find a good mix between the two of them so that they can keep them both fresh and healthy during the game. It seems like, Bijan is your guy, get out quick and let's get us a home run hitter. And look like Algier is going to be, let's close it out. Let's put it down much, blood him up and bruise him up toward the end part of the game, eat this clock up. And that's a good mix. And if they can keep playing that same style like they did the last 2 weeks, which they've been competitive and then actually dominated against Minnesota, which is supposed to be one of your better teams in 2025. I'm just keeping my mouth shut because what I see that they're doing right now is actually working. And like I said, outside of a missed kick, the Falcons are undefeated right now.
Facts.
So there's really not much to complain about. There's really not much to nitpick on how they're doing things, especially after coming off of last season. And everybody was they picked on this. We had these things they need to prove on this. I think they did a real they focused in the offseason on becoming what they wanted to come, to gaining an identity, especially how they've now going out trying to say, we're going to get after the passer. And that pass rush has been spectacular, in my opinion, the first 2 games. And after watching the Carolina Panthers go up against the Jaguars, the Panthers are in for a long day. I hope they better try to concentrate on the run, even though it may not going to work very well. I think if they want to keep this game close, they probably need to run the ball about 45 times just to keep it close, because they drop back, they're in for a long day.
And the thing is, I definitely would love to see Michael Penix Jr. get in the rhythm today. I love to see him get started. I'd love to see him get Drake London and Darnell Mooney going early. And the other thing, you got to get Kyle Pitts in, because now you're figuring out, okay, you can use him again. You can use him against safeties and linebackers, which should have been done earlier. But to me, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Pitts is more of a red zone threat than anything. I'm not taking away from what he does on the field. I think he would be better suited to being what's your boy's name that used to play for the New Orleans Saints. He came out of Miami.
I know you're talking
Jimmy
about.
Graham.
Yeah, I know.
He would be.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham.
I feel like Pitts would be more of a Jimmy Graham type of tight end. He's gonna be a guy that you can get touchdowns with. And I'm not the biggest Kyle Pitts fan. You know that, and I stand on that.
Yes, especially if you get him one-on-one. If you kind of do him like the Patriots used to do at Gronk, they would split him out wide on those corners, especially in the red zone, and just, hey, go up, get the ball. Luckily, the Falcons got 2 of those guys, that and Drake London. So they got 2 of those guys that can actually go get that high point ball near the red zone. Now, and I will say this, you can count on Pitts this year because it's a contract year. You're gonna get if you haven't noticed it all season, you're gonna get the very best out of Pitts, because he's looking for a contract from either the Falcons or somebody else around the league. He's going to get paid, and he's playing like a motivated player. So take advantage of what he's doing right now, and it sets up everybody else in the passing game. I mean, when Drake was out last week or week before, he really kind of stepped up and helped them with I call it that high point ball game where they're getting able to throw it to the big guy. I don't see. I'm telling you, this is going to be the Falcon fans. We should be excited this year, especially with Kyle Pitts. But it sets up everything because that running game has really been a pleasant surprise, a very pleasant surprise, and I think they're committed to it. Obviously, they got another guy off that McVay tree, just like the Jaguars, who are committed to running the ball. And when you're number 1 in the conference right now, especially when you got the likes of the Detroit Lions who love to run the ball, and you got Saquon in Philly, you want to stay ahead of the game. And I think right now, when teams plan for you the following week and they look at the sheets and they say, wait a minute, they're number 1 in the conference of rushing, and then they look at the game, and this was against Minnesota, who's got a pretty dang good defense.
And that was against a Brian Flores. Wait a minute, that was against a Brian Flores.
Brian Flores, yes.
And that was my point.
On the road, in a hostile environment, they came out from the beginning of the game and smashed them right in the mouth. And Carolina has probably one guy that I will be probably concerned with on that defense front, which is Derek Brown. Their linebackers are I mean, if you watch, I tell you what, too bad we were now earlier. We talking about this. If they got a tight end that can go smash them linebackers, kind of like Brenton Sprains did with the Jaguars, they don't want none of the smoke when it comes to running the ball. They gave up 200 yards against the Jaguars. I think they gave up close to about 135, 140 last week. So they're ripe for the taking. I'm looking for a big game out of Algier and Bijan Robinson. I wouldn't even try to throw the ball more than 30 times a game because you want to get this game over with, get everybody out of there healthy, establish that running game, get up about 3 scores, and then let Algier take the game home so they can go ahead and be out of the game, be out that stadium about 4:15 because the game is over at 3:45.
Man, and that's the craziest thing when you sit back and you think about it, and it's just one of those things that you really have to pay attention to, because I said this earlier. I want to beat them to where my starters are sitting. That's what I want to do. I want my starters to be sitting by the third quarter. I know that sounds crazy, but why not? Why not beat them like that? Beat them soundly. Let your starters sit. Let your backups get those reps. You know, at this point.
Now, I get what you're saying. I mean, you're going to probably be able, especially that'll work more for the defense because you'll be able to play more of those guys that you were looking to get in. Because especially in that situation, if you got the big lead that we're hoping, believing that we'll have, they're going to have to drop back and pass. You know, they're going to have to do that. And that, like I said, that's going to be a day to feast on for everybody. I'm looking for a big day for Mr. Bates at safety. I'm looking for a big day for all the defensive backs because they're going to get their opportunities. That run games get their points on the board like I'm expecting.
Hey, Will, if you're going to come in, man. I was getting ready to let you come in, bro. I saw you pop up on the screen and it just went black. But when you get back on the screen, I'll let you in.
Come on.
But, he changed it. He had a bad reception. That's what that was. Shout out to my guy Tyreek Holland over there doing his thing on X. That's my guy. Guess who his big cousin is?
Who's that?
His big cousin is one of the best defensive linemen that ever played at Oklahoma. Not the Selman twins or whatnot. You got to go back to the 2000s or whatnot. Think about it.
Gerald McCoy?
Nope. Who was one of the best defensive linemen for the Chicago Bears during that time? And he's an Oklahoma Sooner.
Oh, you got me on that one. That ain't coming to my head right away. You got me.
I actually thought you would have known that one, Coach, because I know you're huge on some of those boys that come out of the out of Oklahoma. I'm surprised.
That's the latest one that come to mind.
I'm gonna give you a chance to figure that one out. I'll give you a chance to figure that one out.
What you said in the 2000s?
Yeah, he was on their Super Bowl team that lost, unfortunately.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm thinking linebackers like Rocky Boyman and some other guys. I'm gonna call Uncle on that one right away. So I'm already anxious to know who you're talking about. See if I recognize.
You say you call it Uncle on that one? Tommy Harris.
It's been so long since I even said that name out of my mouth. Yeah, he was a great one. Yeah, he's a great one.
What's going on with your phone, man?
StreamYard, man. You know I'm using just your little link. I ain't got the StreamYard or the app because they want you to make your little email and do all that. But my 3 keys to victory for me is we have to get Bryce Young. Basically our front 7 gives different stunts, different looks, and number 2. The line of scrimmage for me, man, for both sides, defense and offense, we have to, put points early. And I expect this offense to score more often, have time possession. And 3, for me, it's gonna be time possession. We got to have Bryce Young off the field and have us offense be more than our defense on the field. So, like I said, I see the Falcons. I see like 28 to 14. But like I said, overall, I think we should at least have like 2 turnovers and 3 sacks this game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, Coach, here's the crazy part. This joker here like to fire everybody. Now, that's the one thing about him. He real emotional. He the one that you got to watch.
Mr. Will, you can put the pink slip in the closet for a few more weeks. You ain't gonna be doing that.
Yeah.
Running up. You know, and now if they don't perform, you'll be pulling it out. You'll be finding multiple bunch of people. But if
Yeah,
right now, I don't think you'll be using it.
Yeah, I just want to see to be consistent because we can't like what Ryan be saying, we can't outshoot ourselves and give teams second chances. And then we did that a lot last year, giving teams second chances and putting ourselves in not being disciplined. We gotta be more disciplined than the other team. So like I say, we go there healthy and execute all three phases of the game. The game ball, we go out there with a dominant victory. And this is a division game. And I'm not taking Carolina lightly, but like I said, I just want our corners to step up like D. Alford, even though they got a big wide receiver. I expect them to put a safety on top just in case.
They got two big wide receivers, but here's the problem. The problem is he don't have time to get him to the ball. He don't get it to him on a slant or anything like that, they're not going to be able to get the ball downfield, especially with that pass rush. And one thing I will tell you like to do, Bryce does like to get out of the pocket because remember he's a slight of build and he's not that tall. So if I know the Jaguars got at him with a lot of stunts. They didn't really just kind of do a straight rush. They did stunts. They flashed in front of his face so he couldn't see that. And if you can keep them from getting the little slants, because he's going to try to throw it across the middle. And he doesn't have a very good time unless he's got better in the last couple of weeks getting the ball in between the receiver and the sideline. He's really not outside the numbers. He wants to get everything in the numbers. And like I said, with the pass rush, they're just as good as what the Jaguars have put. I don't see any problems as long as that running game and they putting points on the board early, get them behind the scoreboard. The one thing I will say about this is the one thing that could be derailing if the Panthers are able to get that running game going, because they're going to get the ball to Chuba Hubbard probably at least 20 times. And then they'll throw it, they do it like to throw it to him in the screen game. But this is nothing they shouldn't handle because they know each other very well. This is a divisional game. Everybody knows what each other at this point going to do. And like I said, I'm like you. I'm expecting to be able to get a glass of tea and relax and have no stress in this game.
Hey man, look.
Especially after the first quarter, it might be a little tight the first quarter because they might come out with something that they weren't expecting. You know what I mean? And that usually what happens when you see a team, they drive down the first drive and they score, and the defense is looking like, wait a minute, we got to make some adjustments because they did stuff that they didn't see on film. They tweaked something that nobody saw coming. And okay, now you got that out the way. Okay, we know what you got, and we already know what the other stuff you got. What you got for us now?
Yeah.
And remember, they only got practice time, so they ain't gonna be able to throw too much. They ain't seen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I expect us at least put like 21 or 28 this today.
I'm predicting like a 24 to 16 game because of the fact that there's always somebody making play. Yeah, it's a division game, but I say 24-16, and if it get out of hand, the Falcons score up in the 30s.
I look at it like this, man. At this point, we just have to make sure that this is not a bounce back game, like I always say, because it's not just them. It's any team that's bad in the league that we play against. They always have a bounce back game against Atlanta. And this is
I'll give you guys a little hope on this. With the guys they got in that locker room now, and they've been the last couple of years, mostly 90% of those guys are used to winning, especially those rookies that they bought. And them guys are winners.
Yeah.
They came from winning, they win. And their mindset, if you notice, they don't play like rookies.
Well, you got to remember, Xavier Watts kind of started off a little from a program that was up and down at that point, but they finally got to go to a national championship in his last year. And then you had Billy Bowman, who really he went through growing pains in Oklahoma. They weren't winning like that when he was there, but they were competitive. And then,
them two young ends, they used to win.
Well, I ain't gonna say James Pierce used to win it.
Tennessee won quite a bit. Remember, they won no national. But I mean, remember they was in the playoffs last year.
That was their first time in the playoffs. During the time James Pierce was there, they struggled to even get to that point because you ran up against the Alabama. Well, they beat Alabama twice while he was there, but you ran up against Alabama. You ran up against Georgia. They still struggled with Florida during that time. So when you look at it, he's used to being on competitive teams. He got to go to the playoffs last year, but Jalen got to actually cash in on them championships, though.
Yeah. So I know, but I mean, like I said, they're accustomed to being able to beat teams, especially teams that they're better than. So
but just think about it, Coach. You think about it. Jalen Hurts said this Now, remember, he went to a Super Bowl before they had 2 dogs on the team, 3 dogs on the team when they went to the first one and lost. When they had that massive overhaul of practically all that defense at Georgia and they brought all those guys there, he said they literally changed the culture mentally for this locker room because guess what? They was groomed to win. They were groomed to win. When you talk about a team that was on the cusp and then they broke through and then won 2 back-to-back national championships and you're bringing that mindset and they got their brothers who they went through hell and high water with Kirby, the NFL is easy to them. It's easy.
That's what I'm saying. And the guys you brought in now played those guys. And so they're not playing those guys this week. They ain't been playing those guys the last couple of weeks. So they're not intimidated by anything that they're going up against.
And they're looking at it like, look, we get to play with Jalen Hurts. We get to play with these guys. And now we got our own boys that's up in here that are used to winning. Jalen comes from winning, and all these other cats are used to it. Now you combine a winning mindset with the NFL. You know, it's a league of grown men, but you got a whole bunch of young pups that's in there that don't know no better.
You got a whole bunch of guys who's been winners for their career. You got Terrell at cornerback. You got Bates who played in the Super Bowl. You got between the veterans that you got and those young rookies who came from winning programs. You got that. You got mentality of guys who ain't just coming in there just for a paycheck. They want to win. You know what I mean?
You can't forget about the fact that at that quarterback position, you had a guy, Michael Penix Jr., who went through going to Indiana, showing out till he got hurt, then goes to Washington and literally turns that him. They turned around. I'll say this. I wouldn't say they turned it around. I said they won with what was there already. Because if you remember, Jimmy Lake had their program already built. Now, that's the thing that keeps getting forgotten. Now, I'm no Jimmy Lake fan, but the one thing you can say, he had players there. Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb just took it to another level. They didn't really replace much on that team. Those are older guys. So when you have a mindset of mature older guys that are playing and they know what it takes to win ball games, playing tight games, that is what you're seeing. And now you're bringing that to the NFL. Yes, it's a whole different level. NFL is nothing like college. Totally different. But the one thing that's not different, if you have the mindset to be a winner and you're programmed to do it, you're going to find a way to, as what we were saying with your microphone earlier, Coach, adjust.
Improvise, adjust.
You're going to adjust and improvise and learn how to win. That's what you're going to do. That's what great teams do. And the Falcons have a potential to be a great team. They had a potential to be a great team. But the question is this. Raheem started it last week when he got rid of Koo and said, I got to keep this locker room intact. He's already letting you know that, all right, I got to change what I'm doing. I want to win. That right there should have told everybody that.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Coach, the question is this. Can he be consistent? Because it's easy to be good and correct in the moment. Can you be consistent the whole season?
Oh, I believe so. I believe they're going to be consistent the whole season. I mean, you're looking at how they come out this 2 weeks. The only thing that you have to worry about, I think, with the Falcons, if you get a rash of injuries, which that goes with any team. But they're young enough that I think they could sustain, that they won't have those injury issues because there's young bodies. And I think they're hungry. I think they didn't finish the way they wanted to finish last year. I think especially for a lot of those veterans, they want to get in the playoffs. It's not just people in the front office. Those guys in that locker room, you can see it by how they carry themselves in the ball game. You can see how when they have a little bit of adversity and how they respond to it. They're not there to just be somebody doormat this year. They plan on kicking the door in somehow, some way. They didn't lose that game against Tampa. They ran out of time. Basically,
they mismanaged their time, so there's no such excuse.
Well, you got to understand, Tampa's done that the last 2 weeks. They found a way to adjust to get a win out of the game team. With they snatched the victory out of a certain defeat. You get what I'm saying? And that's because that's a team that's been in the playoffs the last few years. They've owned this division for a while, so you got a bunch of veterans that know that, and they sprinkled in a couple of rookies that helped them. I mean, think about it. They did that with banged up offensive linemen. I mean, they went up against a great pass rush. and had backup offensive linemen, and then had another starter go down in the game, and they still ran the ball and came and made a 80-yard drive in less than 2 minutes to win that game against the Texans. So that's a team that knows how to win. And that's what the Falcons are learning to do right now. They're learning how to win. You know, you go that the first test was, you know, at home, you drop one that you thought you knew you should have had, same way the Jaguars did this last week. You came back and you like, hell no, that ain't happening to us again. We're gonna know what we did, and we're not gonna put ourselves in that position. And they went up to Minnesota and they took control of that game, and nobody ever thought they was gonna lose it. This is a game now that you got to say, this is a game we're expected to win. We know we're the better team. Mentally, how we're going to handle it. Are we going to go out there business, like do our job, take care of this team, and get ready for the following week? That's the test to find out right now. More than anything else about what Carolina going to do is what Atlanta's going to do as far as handling their business of a team that they know they should be and everybody else expects them to be.
The whole thing you got to really pay attention to at this point is, as I keep saying, consistency. Can we keep this thing? Can we still keep this thing consistent? That's the whole thing. Because one game, everybody's, oh yeah, we're this. I'm not doing that, because I've got called, you're just a negative fan. No, it's not a negative fan. It's the fact that I already know how this system goes. It's a long season. Enjoy the moments of winning. Enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't be delusional about it and start putting these predictions out like, no. See how the season plays out. You will find out a lot about your team by the middle of the season or close to the end of the season and how it plays out. Because again,
Ryan, what I told you, don't really make no determination about the team until around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Right before Thanksgiving. Then you'll know who they really are.
By that time, everybody's going to be battle tested at that point. Everybody's going to face adversity. You're going to have injuries. I pray that we don't have injuries, knock on wood, that we can actually have, if we do have them, they're not serious injuries. You get what I'm saying? We already have
what you're going to do already, offensively and defensive. The book is already kind of out on who you are and what you can do for the most part.
Exactly. We already got Braylon Trice out, who was supposed to get rotation, but this is his second year missing the whole season and not even stepping foot on the field at this point. 2 years in a row. Now, a lot of people saying I'm hard on that, but it's like, yo, I get it. Rookie season. He blew his knee out in the preseason. I get it. But now he's out again. Foot injury, still trying to battle and get that knee right. But it's like, hey, your best ability is availability. Your best ability is availability. If you're not available, you can't be a successful football player for this franchise. It's just what it is. You can't be a successful football player for any franchise if you're unavailable. You can't earn your paycheck. So again, until he's back on the field, and a lot of people, y'all can disagree with me, and I'm okay with that. He is a paycheck menace. He's a thief right now. He ain't earned it. He hasn't earned it. So again, Troy Anderson at least has a little bit of equity. He's at least started, but he's been injury riddled during the time he was in Atlanta. But the man has actually started games. That's the difference.
I ain't gonna front after they go.
Just a quick reminder so everybody knows. So I don't know what you're gonna do for next week. If you're gonna do the same time. Remember, they start the first game of being in Europe is next week. So it'll be a 9:00 a.m. Eastern time game next week. I think it's the Vikings and the Steelers in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, they're across
I was planning on going to London this year, but I had to got some other stuff that came up, so I'm gonna change it. I won't go this year.
Yeah, please don't save your money, man. With this money inflation, please save your money, man. Make this money, Lord. We will overcome.
We're not gonna make this a political show now. It's all about.
I know. I was just telling her, thank God he had changed his plans. God had something better for him. So yeah,
definitely. Yeah. But at this point. What are you guys' score predictions today for this ball game?
Like I said before, I would say Atlanta 24, Carolina 16, and I'm being generous with the 16 points.
I say 24-17. It's gonna be a close one because it's a divisional games. I know Carolina, they in a losing streak, but I think feel like the Falcons make some critical plays and critical game situations to close the game out. So give me 24-17. Falcons 24, Carolina 17.
I don't even think they breaks. I don't even think they get if they score a touchdown in this game, I give them that, but it's gonna be because of a busted coverage or a busted situation, a busted assignment where they might break a run. But I don't have them getting above 13 points. I don't have them getting above 13. So
the one thing I'm gonna say, hopefully for all the teams that are out there that are doing the throwback, I hope everybody don't have the same thing that Minnesota, because Minnesota started that throwback thing this weekend, last Monday night, and look what happened to them. I think the Jaguars and the Bucks got the throwback song. I think the Bucks got the
orange.
popsicle,
Yeah,
and the Jaguars got the Coughlin era uniforms on. So all these teams with this old stuff, sometimes they don't always work out with these gimmicks. You just need to go play ball.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I got the Falcons winning this ball game 35-13. I don't have them getting above. I don't have Carolina getting. Now if they go below 13, I'm even happier with that, because that means my defense did an even better job.
Brian, you do know 35 points, when you throw 35 in the NFL, you've done almost everything right offensively, right? All game long.
Well, we're averaging 21 points a game right now.
I get it. So you're asking the extra couple of touchdowns because it's Carolina.
With a defense that was that bad against the Cardinals, who's not that great of a team, we should get 35 points in that ball game.
Yeah.
That's me.
I feel like our defense gets.
I'm with you. I'm hoping you're right. I can't. They came in with the Jaguars anyway, and I love Atlanta, and so that's double hit for me when it comes to Carolina. That's one thing. If they never win another game, it'll be too soon.
Here's the funny thing. Coach is an old school Falcon fan, but because he lives in Jacksonville, he started supporting the Jags or whatnot in the same city. So he's always had love for the Falcons or whatnot. And here's the funny part, Coach, you always advocate for the uniforms.
Yeah.
You still advocate for the old uniforms.
The originals, the OGs. They need to go back to the OGs and they leave this hot. Well, I don't know what them doggone cartoon character uniforms they got on right now.
I say go back. I'm with you. Let's go back to the Grits Blitz uniforms, silver breeches, red jerseys, and red helmets. I'm with you on that, Coach.
Yeah, look. It looked like Dora the Explorer and Inspector Gadget got together and had a baby, and you make them uniforms.
Hey, well, Will and Coach, Coach, tell the folks where they can find you at, because I know you're still coaching right now at this point.
Well, I'm with we do, as you see, the U.S. Football Coalition. We do international games, but also with Militech.com. You'll see in the next year or two how we're changing the game with play calling technology. They're using it in college baseball and college softball right now, and we're using it in college football at the lower levels. Next year it'll be in the FBS, where you'll be seeing Florida and Georgia and all those using those things. And other than that, hey, just catch me up on the normal social media, Terry McGriff, on all the usuals.
Gotcha, Coach. Definitely appreciate you for coming in today, hanging out for the pregame meal. Normally we have more fans to come through, but today I think a lot of people just kind of chilling out today. But I know we're going to have a lot of them come through next week. So thank you for tapping in with us, Coach. Appreciate you.
I love you, man. Y'all be good. We talk about this. Hopefully I'll catch you on the post game.
Yes, sir. We'll catch you on the post game, Coach. Love you too. Hey, man, that was one of my former coaches or whatnot I used to play for back in the day. Coach McGriff is definitely one of the best in the game, doing his thing with USA football and so many other ventures that he has at this point. Now, with the Falcons, we definitely see that this team is going to have some things that are going to be a little bit challenging, but here's the thing. It's a rivalry game. Let's get through it. Let's go ahead and win this thing, and let's celebrate today with the party line. I expect the party line victory today, and we're going to talk about the things that they're going to do and what we can improve on, win, lose, or draw. But I got us winning today. So y'all tap in later on, and also tap in for the halftime breakdown. I got you covered with that, as always, at halftime. So much love, and thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch you later on. It's the pregame meal. Ghost.